Hi, I'm Bill Janovitz.
And I'm John C., and we're from modernmass.com.
And we're going to give you a little video introduction to mid-century modern homes in the Boston area. And we're starting our tour here at 6 Moon Hills, founded by the Architects Collaborative. Mention the town of Lexington, Massachusetts to people, and if they have any impression of the place at all, it no doubt consists of tricorn hats, muskets, and guys in knee-high knickers on a town green fending off British redcoats on a frosty April morning. Ask them to pull their focus out a little further, and folks might now picture that triangle of green grass surrounded by neat, center entrance, white colonial-era homes. And these impressions would not be wrong. The past is well preserved in this colonial-era town. This scope, however, is woefully limited. There are many eras of significant architecture represented in this town of approximately 30,000. In addition to the authentic colonials, Lexington contains fine specimens of other, more typically expected New England architectural styles. But as one tour through such mid-century modern neighborhoods as 6 Moon Hill, 5 Fields, and Peacock Farm will demonstrate, this is not a town trapped in time. As post-war America expanded out into the suburbs, Boston saw the rise of the Metro Belt Highway, Route 128, play a significant factor in the draw of professors, engineers, architects, and other professionals out to erstwhile rural towns. In 1947, one young group of forward-thinking architects, the Architects Collaborative, TAC, founded by Bauhaus pioneer Walter Gropius, who had fled Germany and joined Harvard University's Graduate School of Design, purchased 20 acres of land on the east central side of Lexington and formed a nonprofit corporation for the community they named 6 Moon Hill. Precedent had been set in the region already. By 1941, Koch had built a small neighborhood of modern homes called Snake Hill, a cul-de-sac in neighboring Belmont. Koch, who had studied at the GSD while Gropius was there, had also studied with and had been greatly influenced by Scandinavian architects, and he went on to teach at MIT. 6 Moon Hill was laid out in a cul-de-sac. The TAC partners set aside common land to leave as open space, including an area with a swimming pool. They built about 26 houses in an international modernist style, walls of glass, open floor plans, flat or slant roofs, simple and inexpensive materials, austere lines, all nestled thoughtfully into the landscape. Though they at first may have seemed out of place, European modernist statements plopped down in the middle of woods and farms of Lexington. They actually reflected the old cliches regarding New England Yankee frugality and even Shaker sensibility, while working with materials at hand. As an article in the Boston Globe pointed out not too long ago, the houses of Moon Hill remain remarkably unpretentious and livable. And consider this, what would have been more out of place than Grecian columns on a farmhouse in the middle of a New England field when those started appearing? The Moon Hill houses were as unassuming, if not more so, than the good old white clapboarded colonials dotting the town. Unlike reproductions of that familiar style, the modernist architects saw no need to busy up the facades of their homes with fake shutters, mullioned windows, cupolas, and the like. And the use of rubber, tar and gravel, and other new building materials and techniques did away with the need for steeply gabled roofs to dump away the snow, rain, and other byproducts of the New England climate. While the houses of 6 Moon Hill were mainly built as a community to house the highly collaborative TAC partners and associates themselves, the architects also conceived of their next development of spec houses to sell to other home buyers, and they chose a farm on the southwest part of town. The old Cutler farm was purchased by TAC, and the young firm moved forward on their conception of a development that they would control from beginning to end. This became the neighborhood known as 5 Fields. One of the original 8 TAC partners, Dick Morehouse, who was a resident of Moon Hill, oversaw the project and even acted as salesman, showing the new homes to interested buyers. Like Moon Hill, form followed function in the design of the houses. The homes were sited sympathetically into their surroundings and the existing contours of the land, and there was common land set aside with a swimming pool for the community. This community spirit carries on today in both Moon Hill and 5 Fields. A third important planned modernist development, Peacock Farm, was just a stone's throw across Pleasant Street from the swimming pool of 6 Moon Hill. The Peacock Farm community was founded not by an architect associated with Harvard, as TAC was, but by Walter Pierce from Harvard's Cambridge rival, MIT. A 1959 New York Times story was headlined, "Lexington, Massachusetts. Colony of contemporary homes will be repeated near Boston." Walter Pierce started his own architecture firm with Danforth Compton after studying at MIT with Carl Koch, who was a founding father of modern prefab housing in America. Koch had started the Techbuilt and Acorn Homes companies, conceptual continuation of the kit houses like the House by Mail Craftsman homes from Sears in the early 1900s. Compton and Pierce noticed a for sale sign along Route 2 near Lexington. There was a 45-acre farm filled with wetlands, ledge, and woods. The two architects set out to become the developers of this challenging site, with a plan they referred to as the, quote, program. The concept was to build modern, aesthetically progressive homes that would be from a stock design, yet looked as if they were custom built for the land. This was also counter to the trends of the modern developments of the era, which seemed to operate from a scorched earth policy, clearing down land and plopping down cookie-cutter homes one after another. After initially designing one-story houses and building a handful of them, Compton suddenly and unexpectedly passed away, and Pierce went on to design what is now known as the, quote, Peacock Farm house, a modern split-level home that allowed the house to be of the hill, as Frank Lloyd Wright espoused. The shape of this house style was flexible enough that it could adapt to the flat or sloping lots. The structure was a basic post and beam system with few, if any, interior load-bearing walls, allowing for great flexibility in the floor plans, and many large windows unobstructed by unnecessary architectural features. Many of these houses have been renovated and expanded over the years, much like those in Moon Hill and Five Fields. They are quite adaptable to such modifications, and most homeowners in these communities have adhered to the mild covenants that the original developers put into place to keep the communities architecturally consistent. Lexington might have the highest concentration of mid-century-modern houses in the Boston area. It certainly has the highest number of mid-century-modern neighborhoods, with not only these three historic neighborhoods, but lesser-known neighborhoods such as Turning Mill, which grew out of an earlier neighborhood called Middle Ridge, which was founded by the Techbuilt and Acorn founder Carl Koch. He also went on to develop a neighborhood in Concord called Conantum, which was sort of the predecessor of the Techbuilt homes. Concord, Wayland, Sudbury, Carlisle, and other towns in the western suburbs around Boston have plenty of deck houses and homes that imitated or outrightly replicated the Peacock Farm and Techbuilt designs. Newton and Brookline also have very significant mid-century modern homes that were mostly commissions. But it is nearby Lincoln that rivals Lexington for its renown in modernist architecture of the mid-century. Gropius built his first house in Lincoln, as we noted, in 1938, and that house is open to the public as a museum in the Trust of Historic New England, a preservation organization. Architect Henry Hoover, though less known than Gropius, had a far greater impact on the architecture of Lincoln, with dozens of houses he designed built in this town and nearby towns such as Weston. And it was his own house that predated the Gropius house by 1 year and is likely the first modernist home in the area. The Hoover house has only recently left the Hoover family, and while it was traded into private ownership, it remains in something called the Stewardship Program of Historic New England, which preserves the house and some integral elements of the architecture and the site. Well, I hope that gives you a pretty good perspective of what was going on around the Boston suburbs in the mid-century.
If you want to see more of our listings, please visit us at modernmass.com or give us a call.